that the storytelling approach, it favors practical skill driven experiences, and this can be fulfilled in the language classroom through, in the hands of a dynamic teacher also. So now in language pedagogy, storytelling is definitely an effective. I vouch that yes, storytelling is a very important tool, it's a very powerful tool, and it can be used in the classroom for dynamic results and for the overall development of the students. Years of instruction in English where they were not able to be proficient in that. So in order to find that out, and in order to again teach them at the same time the language skills, I ventured out along with few of my colleagues and some students to that school in Meghalaya in Shillong. As we all know that the storytelling has been a powerful tool in enduring mankind. We have many great minds in history who have been inspired by stories, which could be myths, folk tales, and all down the line of history, and they have championed in many fields, be it in social reforms, be it in the scientific fields, social sciences, and so on. And one of the strengths we see, which they had drawn on were stories from their forefathers and all that. For example, we have Nelson Mandela. We have Nelson Mandela's story, who was inspired by stories of bravery and moral uprights of his forefathers, and that's how he has been. He had been able to bring about revolutionary changes against apartheid. Now, even coming back to the present times also, we all have heard about children being inspired and taken in awe by fictional figures in true storytelling and all, and even in animated forms and all that. And we have heard them talk about aspiring to be pilots or even a Pokemon trainer through the animations that they have seen. And even as adults also, we reminisce very vividly on the memories which we had heard about when we were kids. Now, if we simulate that storytelling approach as a pedagogical tool, I feel that it can help exploit maximum learning in our educational endeavors also. That is what I feel that. And this dynamic approach, I feel that storytelling is a dynamic approach to teaching, and it can bring about a creative revolution for the benefit of self as well as for the betterment of the society. And just yesterday in the Economic Times, on an article on education written by Professor R. Naik, he opines that the Gen Z students now are not interested in traditional lectures, but they are looking forward for favorable practical skills driven by experiences. So I feel that the storytelling approach, it favors practical skill driven experiences, and this can be fulfilled in the language classroom through, in the hands of a dynamic teacher also. So now in language pedagogy, storytelling is definitely an effective way, from the grammar to the vocabulary to sentence formation, meaning and their associations and communicative intents. They are all important for the child, for the students for which the children need to require the skills and the knowledge to use the language functionally and meaningfully. So this acquisition of the language and the skills is of utmost importance in helping them develop their creative critical thinking, and also to make them into creative human beings. That is what I feel. So I just want to share a small study which I have done about some years back in a school in a suburban area among class 10 and 12 students in their higher secondary level. So the objective was to find out on why they were not proficient or competent in the language, because in spite of years of instruction in English, why they were not able to uh, be proficient in that. So in order to find that out, and in order to again teach them at the same time the language skills, I ventured out along with few of my colleagues and some students to that school in Meghalaya in Shillong. And we use one of the stories from that text only. We use one of the students from that text. It was of a folk tale on how a certain waterfall, a very famous waterfall in Sora Cherrapunji, got its name. So in 2-3 sentences, I'll just give a gist of the story. It's about a lady by the name of Likai, who was a widow and with a child, and she got remarried again, and she goes to work every day, but because she goes to work, the husband is with the daughter every day. And one day when she came back from home, she came back from work, she didn't find her daughter at home, and she was worried. And while having her dinner, in one of the pots, she saw cut fingers of her daughter. She was grief stricken, and because she was grief stricken, she ran to the waterfall and she plunged herself into the waterfall, and that's how she died, and that's how she got the name. So along the way, after telling them the story, discussions were encouraged, interactions were encouraged, because even though it's a part of the curriculum and the syllabus, they do not. It is a one way teaching only, right? The students are passive all the time in the classroom, and so they don't have time, they don't get the opportunity to open up, interact, question, or use the language in the classroom confines. So when they were encouraged to open up, they got the opportunity to use the language, and then there were so many questions, and at their level, they were like a phrase like stricken with grief. They couldn't connect also. So we explained all those terms to them, and they were so interested, because it was a part of the culture. They could relate themselves, identify themselves with the story, and that's how it encouraged them to use the language more, know the meanings, associate the meanings, and at the same time cognitively process the story and the language in their minds. And not only that, another interesting thing was that one of the students who had accompanied us had made an animation of the same story. So in order to strengthen their memories, strengthen their creativity, strengthen their interest and curiosity, and all that. So the animated version was also shown, and in order to strengthen their skills in multiple ways. So after they were shown that, they were very excited, and then they were like, oh, how did you make all this? One day when we grow up, we also want to be creators of this kind of animations. And not only that, they were saying that if only we had been taught using this kind of animation with demonstrations and with clear explanation, and giving us the chance to participate in the classroom, they were saying that English would have been very easy. English learning would have been very easy for them. So through this small study, I vouch that yes, storytelling is a very important tool. It's a very powerful tool, and it can be used in the classroom for dynamic results, and for the overall development of the students, be it communicative skills, be it imbibing the meanings of the words and all that. And not only that, they, by interacting with them, they let go of their self-esteem, their egos, and now bereft of any inhibitions, like they were opening up, and they themselves with the teacher facilitating them, they became the drivers of their learning experiences.